Hello, my name is Alejandro Salcedo Romo, and today I'm going to analyze Medicis court case. In order to do so, I will follow the case method. So first, I'm going to identify relevant facts. Secondly, I'm going to summarize the main problems. And finally, I will suggest some solutions. But let's start from the beginning. Medicis is a company established in 2002 in the US, devoted to the development, manufacture, and sale of medical monitoring systems. In some point of 2007, the board of Medicis saw early signs that the growth was slowing, and also two important competitors announced they are moving to the key markets of Medicis through the development of products to compete against IntensCare. To counter this, in January 2008, Art Beaumont was hired as the new president of the company. And Beaumont has three main objectives: sharpen strategic focus, preserve innovative culture, and stimulate rapid growth. As a consequence, within weeks, Beaumont introduced a series of changes: the creation of an executive committee, and also he established a new process to product development, a cross-functional process, against the old sequential process. Despite these important changes, the company continued with its functional organization. The way of evaluation and reporting remains the same. All employees, including core team members, continue reporting to their functional managers. Let me focus now in the IntensCare facts. IntensCare is a remote monitoring system for use in hospital intensive care units. It is the most ambitious project in company's history, with an investment of $20.5 million. This project was developed in a typical sequential fashion way, which implies an ad hoc group with informal meetings and without the pressure of time. We also know that the progress was slow, since team members were often pulled away to work on priorities in their functional areas. In August 2008, Beaumont formalized a core team. And let me take a minute to introduce you the members of this core team. First, Jack Fogel, Senior Production Manager and Project Lead, hired in 2002. And let me give you some opinions of the core team members to make us a good idea what was happening. So Fogel considers that he's in charge to tie all the pieces together. However, he doesn't contemplate marketing area, profit and loss area, and regulatory affairs. Second, we have Valerie Mears, Marketing and Profit and Loss Manager, hired in 2008. And she considered herself as a mini general manager with a lot of responsibilities, but without the power enough to move the people to do the right things for the project and for the company. Third, we have Aaron Gerson, the brain behind the product, scientist part of the research design area, hired in 2002. And he had seen many an executive try to push product development faster and fail. Next, Brett O'Brien, Senior Engineering Manager, hired in 2002. And let me quote him: "After all, they, Merce and Jack, are the two that will get all the glory for this product." And he continues: "We all have very different drivers, which really complicates our ability to make good decisions together." Next, Karen Bayer, from Regulatory Affairs, hired in 2002. And as many of the members of Regulatory Affairs, she considers that she was seen as an obstructionist by most of her teammates. And finally, we have Dipesh Mukherjee, Software Design Manager, hired in 2004. Since the beginning, he decides to outsource the software development to a firm in India. And he has some problems of communication with the Bryans, since they have a long-distance relationship to develop the software. But let me go back to the facts related with IntensCare. We know that Beaumont approached the product with a sense of urgency. As a consequence, new goal planned launch by August 2009. We know that this team used to work through formal meetings, but we also know that some core team members have informal meetings with only 4 of the 6 members of the core team, specifically without the obstructionist of Karen Bayo and without the dramas of Valerie Mears. We hear a lot about a modular design issue, but to be clear, despite being something desirable, it is not necessary, at least not for the first version of IntensCare. And finally, we have a special date, February 2009, with major problems related with software and delivery date from India. Beaumont was aware about these problems, however, he prefers to stay on the line. My job is to support them, not to shout at them, unquote. And finally, we have an uncomfortable conversation. Valerie Mears hears a conversation between Jack and O'Brien, talking about the problems of the development of the product, but also complaining about her. So at the end, she needs to take a decision, enter to the room and confront Jack and O'Brien, or go with Beaumont and present him her resignation letter. It's time to focus on the problems of this case. The first problem that we have is that the product began and was developed in an old-fashioned way, a sequential way. However, had a disruptive change in the final stage, which implies new process with new people, with few time, only 1 year to fulfill the goal, but with the same way of reporting and evaluation. Second problem, relevant changes in company's culture without adequate efforts to change the mindset. To explain this problem, let me be empathic or use narrative imagination. So as a core team member, I think Medicis is a profitable company, have a good status, and a good record of highly successful products, thanks to the way that we used to work since the company's beginning. So why is necessary to change the way in which we work according to an outsider perspective? The third problem, and as a consequence of the second, is resistance to change in at least 2 levels. First level, in the product development, since many of the members of the team still working in a sequential way, which implies that they are concerning just about their functional areas, losing the big picture of the project development. The second way of resistance to change is that many of the team members consider IntensCare as one product more of the company, despite that we know that this is a key product, that the status of the company is on the line, Beaumont says, and also that this is the way to stimulate the rapid growth and to confront the competitors of the company. We have also some problems of communication among team members, and I consider that we saw a lot of examples during facts expositions. So let me go to the final problem, deficiency in leadership. With Jack, with Valerie, and with Art Beaumont. Talking about Jack, he's acting as one member more of the team. And he's concerning just in his functional area and closer areas. That's why he prefers to solve technical problems in informal meetings, instead to go in front of the whole team and solve the problems together. Second, we have Valerie Mears. She thinks of authority in a command-control way, That's why she wants to have more power to move the people, instead to be involved with the members of the team and work together to fulfill the goals, which is more adequate for a cross-functional way to work. And finally, we have Art Beaumont. Despite Beaumont was aware of the problems of this core team, he stays on the line. So let me pass to the final part of this case to give you to suggest you some solutions. As I said, the changes introduced by Beaumont, more than technical changes, are social or cultural changes. To clarify this point, let me quote Dr. Carlos Llano. A modification in the company structures cannot have any value without the change in the mental and characterological structures of the persons that integrate the company. So it's necessary to give the meaning and sense of belonging to the team members in the new changes. They need to know the big picture, reasons, goals, benefits that the company pursues, as well as the role of each member in these changes. Time is the key, Beaumont says. However, time without meaning is condemned to the exigencies of the now, losing any other perspective, cross-functional, and for sure the big picture. Third problem, the third solution, we need to give them objective measurement models. Yes, the team members need to have clear ideas, but also they need to have adequate support for their actions. In this case, they need to have cross-functional parameters of performance and reporting ways, and even of remuneration. Next solution, it is necessary to have closer and active leadership. Let me quote again Dr. Carlos Llano. Leadership needs, above all, to listen to people. The leader is not the one who wants to command over people, but the one who approaches them to help them. And for that, he has to listen to them and be attentive and be at their service. It is necessary that we must be close to the IntensCare core team, specifically close to Jack and Valerie, since they are the team leaders. Yes, he needs to give them the big picture, but also he needs to be involved in the small picture. Do they understand the relevance of the project? What kind of problems or concerns do they have? How can I support them to fulfill the goals? And finally, I suggest an effective communication. Give them an effective communication. And let me argue why do I leave this solution until the final part. Communicate something, establish a dialogue, presuppose to have a common language. This seems quite obvious, but its obviousness doesn't make it irrelevant. And this case is a good example. Let me explain. If we think about the problems of communications that we saw, most of them are related with discordance of goals, effective ways to work, and parameters. So are related with discordance of working language. Example, Beaumont represents a new and outside working language. Valerie represents also a new and outside working language, while Jack, O'Brien, Mukherjee, and Bayer represents the ordinary working language of the company. What I'm trying to say here is that once that the team member has acquired a common language, a common mindset, the kind of problems of communication that they have will be solved. Thank you very much.